Hey, everybody. Hello, future bestsellers. You would not believe it. Dal and I were just talking today, and I accidentally scheduled this live stream for 11 p.m., which is 12 hours from now. Obviously, not our thing. Yes, Devin, you are correct. I just changed it, so hopefully it will start. Oh my God. You guys, we were just talking about how this week has been completely insane. Thank goodness.
Crazy.
It is. Thank goodness you guys know when to show up. So anyway, yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Daly, and this with me is my lovely and talented friend, DAL CECIL RUNO. DAL, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello there, humans. I am DAL CECIL RUNO, the partially blind alien who is an own voices author, aka the ace from space. I write primarily sci-fi, but I want to be a multi-genre author with short stories and future bigger projects. And I also write some poetry. I usually stream every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, but honey, no, this month, no. I'm working on the release of my short story, and even if it's just a short story and not a big book, it's my first solo release.
Yay!
So I'm going bananas. I cannot stream. I cannot. So no stream today.
And you have a really good reason. I mean, you have a book coming out on Saturday, which is crazy. Sarah says Mercury retrograde should be over soon. It's been a doozy for me. Oh my gosh, me too.
Oh boy, Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. You may notice we're a little lighter this week than we normally are, and we have like a lot of craziness going on. Michelle is working to get out the vote today. We are keeping our fingers crossed that we'll see everybody else today, but it's just been freaking insane lately. So I'm so glad all of you made it here alive. It's very exciting. Let's talk about your book, Dal. I'm super excited about this.
It's a short. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
It's gonna be awesome. Hold on. I'm just gonna so tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so danger, and yes, it's spelled that crazy way because it's a double entendre. It's like there's anger in danger. So yeah, it's that kind of thing. So this story is a short. So it's like 1 hour long if you're reading it. So it's not a very long thing. It's like 7,000 words. It's a thriller crime with a noir vibe. It's set in Iceland. And it's quite, I mean, if you know me as an author, you maybe know what to expect. But for a regular reader who doesn't know me, this might have some twists that they don't see coming.
It sounds very, very twisty to me. So I know I'm super excited. I put it up on the screen.
Oh my God, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, so I think it sounds really, really exciting. And yeah, so good. So you guys should check that out. It comes out on Halloween.
It comes out in ebook, and it's available on every online, like in the big ones, like iBooks, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, and all the big ones.
And it's only 99 cents, right? Which is great. Yeah.
That's the regular practice for a short story, right? Because that's what I see all the time, that short stories are like 99 cents. So I was like, okay, that's gonna be it.
Yeah, generally they're, depending on the length, because some short stories are shorter than others, but just generally depending on the length, 99 cents, $1.99, even up to $2.99. But it depends on, how big your audience is. And
I'm new, so
exactly. But 99 cents is perfect. It's a perfect little introduction.
Yes.
So it's fantastic. Let's say hey to everybody. Thank goodness.
In the chat.
In the chat. Stephen, we're so glad you're here. Stephen is working on the rebranding I'm currently doing. Stephen, tell us more about that. I'm super excited.
Please do. I like talking about branding and stuff. So hey, if you ever need help with anything, let me know.
Nihilist Geek says, have a friend sprint. Popped in to hit like. Thank you very much, Geek. Devin's here. Hello, Devin. We're so glad to see you. Sarah's here. Hey, Sarah. We're so glad.
Hey, Sarah.
Lisa just turned the clocks back a few days early. I can't, you guys. So DAL had written a press release for her book, for her short, and because I have done, I was director of PR for a publisher. I've done like 3,000 interviews myself. I'm like, oh, I'll take a look at it, no problem. And we thought, oh, it'd be really cool to do like a little video about it. So yesterday we get together. We're on for, I don't know, like 2 hours. We're talking. We're going through the whole press release. We're making all these changes, and then at the end of it, I realized it didn't record. So
oh no.
I know. I feel like this whole week stuff has been like insane. So Mercury in retrograde, that sounds about right to me. All right. Hey, Spence. Oh my gosh, I love your avatar. She's got a witch hat and a mask.
Hey!
Love it. Love it. Hello, Barbara Howard. We're so glad you're here today. She says,
cough. Barbara also had a book released not so very long ago.
yes.
Was it last Sunday, Barbara, or one Sunday ago or 2 Sundays ago? Like, this month has been crazy, but I remember Charlotte's Revenge, which is her avatar right there, was also coming out this month. Lots of releases.
I had no idea. All right, I'm going to have to look that one up. Look who popped in to say hi. Hello, Detective. We're so glad to see you today. So you may have noticed, Robert, when I sent you, well, maybe you noticed, maybe you didn't. Apparently, I had put the stream, like I scheduled it for 11 p.m. and not 11 a.m. Eastern, which pretty much sums up my week. So, yeah. How have you been?
I'm having the same week. I'm having the same month.
Well, Sarah tells us that Mercury is in retrograde. How long until it's over, Sarah? I feel like this is causing some major problems.
It really is.
It is. It's one of those things where you go like, oh, I'm not sure if I believe in that stuff. And then when you're like, okay. So Barbara, I want to know about your new book. I had no idea that it seems like you just had a book come out. So you guys
it's the second in her series.
Oh, love that. Charlotte's Revenge. That's a good title. All right. Tell us all about it. I'm super excited to know. And she does say, she says Congress doll, but I'm pretty sure she means congrats.
Yes.
So
thank you, Barbara.
CO Savvy's here. I'm sorry, I just jumped right over you. CO Savvy's here. Yay. Hi, we're going to need a new nickname because Robert made it. I hope you don't mind. I hope we don't have a one nickname limit per stream. I feel
it's gonna be DDD because it's Daily Doll Detective.
It is Daily Doll Detective. Oh my gosh, that's great. All right, Barbara says congrats.
Thank you.
Sarah says congrats. How exciting. Bonnie's here. Hey, Bonnie. I'm so glad you guys all know what time it is because I could not, I was looking why didn't it tell me we were about to go live? And then we realized, oh, it's because it was supposed to be at 11:30 or 11 p.m. because I'm a dork. Yay. CEO Savvy says, so proud of you, Doll. I can't say this word. Felicidades. Is that right?
Yeah, felicidades. Thank you. Gracias.
Yay. Yay.
Yeah, CEO Savvy and I can go about Spanglish. We can do that.
I love it. I love it. All right. CEO Savvy says, hi, Daily Doll Detective. Late but great, Robert. He is great. We're so glad you're back this week.
It's good to be back. It's good to be anywhere.
I know that feeling. I really feel like if we all just made it here today, I feel like maybe that's our big accomplishment for the day.
Yeah.
Done. Right? Pat ourselves on the back. We made it. Good job. All right. So Barbara says that Charlotte's Revenge released last Sunday. Congratulations. Very nice. So this is always so interesting to me because generally speaking, in publishing, unless you have a really good reason, books release on Tuesdays. That's it for all of publishing. And even smaller houses, books release on Tuesdays, unless it's something, right? Unless it's something where it's special, where it's coming out on Election Day or Christmas Day.
Halloween.
Right, or Halloween. But for the most part, books release on Tuesdays. And I wonder if it's an advantage, like it just occurred to me, if you guys think it's an advantage or a disadvantage for indie publishers to put books out on different days. Because I don't know that anybody outside of publishing, other than my kids, like my son was always like, it's Tuesday, the new books come out, let's go to the bookstore. But other than him, I don't know if people outside of publishing are super aware of that. And so does it matter? Does it give you an advantage because you're not competing against all those, big house books? Or is there a disadvantage? I'm just curious. I always thought it must be to sort of get the most advantage for the various bestseller lists, but they all have different cutoffs, and so that's not. So
Yeah.
I want to know what you guys think.
Hey, Barbara. I don't know, because something, to do with, like you said, the release date and not competing with everything makes sense. I don't see any other around that, but knowing the whole entertainment world, there's probably a secret logic that we're not aware of.
I know. Well, publishing though is such, I always say it's a quill and ink business, right? It's such an old, so it's possible that the reason that the publishing industry releases new books on Tuesdays is because that's the day books are released. Like they just do it because they've always done it. That's what everybody else does. And so I don't know if that's the reason they do it or not. But I am curious for all of our indie authors out there. Did you think about that? Like, how do you pick a release date? Are you picking it based on when you're going to have everything ready? Are you picking it like for DAL? She's writing a noir thriller, and so for it to come out on Halloween seems completely appropriate. So
there's another reason for that.
Really? What was your reason?
One of the characters has birthday on November 2nd, which would be the end of Samhain. But it's Samhain starts on the Halloween that everybody knows, but it ends on the 2nd of November, which is also like the Day of the Dead. In Mexican culture and many Latin American cultures. Actually, it's not just Mexico, but Mexico made it the biggest. So the thing is that because it's another culture's day and the story has nothing to do with that culture, I was like careful, and that's why I did it more like Halloween related. Instead of doing it the birthday of my fictional character.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense. Cool. All right. Fantastic. Anybody else? I would like Barbara. I'd love to know what your logic was when
Barbara also has that logic. She says that it was her grandfather's birthday.
Oh, well, and you know what? There's something special about that. I had one of my books came out on my mother's birthday, and it felt really special at the time that it would come out on her birthday. So, that's sweet. That's really cool. And and again, I don't think it really matters in the grand scheme of things. But I'm just curious as to why people pick the dates they pick. Georgie's here. Hello, Georgie.
Hey,
We're so glad to see you. All right, fantastic. Okay, Sarah says she thinks the retrograde ends next week. It ends on the 3rd.
Boy.
That is some interesting timing. So what you're saying is on the 3rd is everything should calm down and be okay. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Oh boy.
Hi, Cio Sammy says hi, Georgie. Everybody loves Georgie. Everybody loves Cio. Everybody loves Devin. Congrats to Dahl and Barbara from Devin. He's so sweet. All right. Bonnie says congrats on all the releases. And then here's Barbara. She says it was my grandfather's birthday. I love that. Go ahead.
Bonnie has a question.
I got it. You and I are like on the same page today, Doll. Okay, so Bonnie says, I have a question, not to sound clueless, but what is an author liaison? So an author liaison is another word for an author escort. So if you are on a book tour, the author liaison will drive you around to different to like to the show that you're on, or to the bookstore where you're going to sign stock or whatever. Digitally speaking, author liaisons can, you know, sort of work between you and like the bookstore, or you and and even the press sometimes. But they're basically a go-between. But traditionally speaking, an author liaison is the person that drives you around when you're on a tour.
Huh. So does that mean that if an author tries to do like press for another author, like a friendly help, or what? What is it? Can you explain?
Well, I guess so. I mean, if it's friendly help, I would just say call it friendly help. If you're paying the author to help you, you're paying someone to do publicity for you, I would call that person your publicist.
Okay.
Because they're doing publicity.
Because I'm still not clear with what would be the difference between a liaison and, like, in the digital sense.
Well, this is what I was going to ask, if anybody had heard this used in the digital sense. So an author liaison, an author liaison, you know, the folks who set up book tours, blog tours for books. Mm-hmm. That could also sort of be like they already have that kind of relationship. It's not really press. It's not really, I mean, it is kind of, but it's not like publicity in the traditional sense. And so because they have like a deal kind of already in place with these blogs. So if anybody's hearing it used in a different way digitally, I would be really curious. Or Bonnie, if this doesn't, like if you've seen it in a different context, then bring it on, because I
have seen something, Lisa. Recently, actually this Sunday, I attended a special event from an Irish author that I didn't really know about, but I attended because I'm a big fan of Jonathan Stroud, and he was like guesting in his book tour, in that particular meeting, like Zoom tour, whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the other author was maybe what you're talking about, like the author liaison, because you bring in fans from this author to this other author that people that maybe these fans don't know yet. And then, I don't know, it was pretty interesting because like the author was like book signing and asking and or answering questions and just talking with the other author. So it was just like, just so the main author of the book tour wasn't alone or something. Mm-hmm. Is this what you mean?
It's not really. Generally speaking, an author liaison is someone who sort of works as an assistant. But they're not, like, they don't necessarily work for you. Like they're, they're a go-between. So maybe if you have a person that makes the connections between the authors, that might be something that a liaison would do. Does that make sense? But yeah, if you have someone who's going to like host a book event with you, maybe it's your friend, or maybe it's someone that the bookstore set up. But if some outside person set it up, they might be a liaison, or they might be a publicist. All right. Cool. So question Savvy says, why Tuesday? I think it's mostly tradition. I think at some point it was probably to sort of get the best advantage for the bestseller list. But now some of them, like, their end of the week starts on Sunday or ends on Sunday. Some of them, their week ends on Friday. Some it ends on Saturday. So I think I have no idea. All right. So Devin says, I throw a dart at the calendar. I feel like there's some of that as well. Barbara says, in my executive corporate life, Tuesday was the best day to send important client emails between 10 and 2. That is true in like publicity as well. You never want to send on a Monday because people are too busy from being back after the weekend. You don't want to send on a Friday because people have like Saturday brain. So Tuesday is like the best possible day. You don't want to send, right? You don't want to send it first thing in the morning.
That was exactly how everything worked in the comic book industry too. They said Tuesday or Wednesday is the best. Don't do it on a Monday because people are catching up from the weekend, or do Friday and Thursday. They're even preparing for the weekend, so things are kind of in a bit of a rush. So Tuesday or Wednesday was always the best day to go into the office or talk to your editor.
Yeah.
Things got done between Tuesday and Wednesday. So that could be it right there.
That is the truth. I wish that when I was doing more press releases for other people or for the publisher, that I tracked like what the open rate or what the success rate was on days of the week. Like you can tell definitely there's a huge difference from Monday to Tuesday, but I don't know the difference between Monday, Tuesday, like between Tuesday, Wednesday, and even early in the day, Thursday. So, but just anecdotally, the middle of the week was always better. Okay, so CEO says, I'd love to release on my birthday, December 15th, but we'll see what happens. Happy birthday. I'm going to say it now because I'm like the worst birthday person and I will forget. So I just want to say, CEO Savvy, happy birthday to you. Savvy's here. Hello, Savvy. We're so glad to see you today. Bonnie is here. We already said you're welcome. Okay, here we go. Savvy says she has been overwhelmed with work lately, not getting sleep until late. So sorry for not being on camera. Sweetie, don't worry about it. We love you. But I have
Mercury retrograde.
Exactly.
Don't worry.
I have so many novel revisions I need to accomplish. So I'm here in the chat for the revisions. We should do some sprinting, and we did a lot of chatting early on. So let's go ahead and do a 20-minute if that works for you guys. Let me just make this happen.
Works for me.
Are going to, all right, let's get some actual work done today. All right, hold on. Okay, so we are going to use Joanne Ninja Hen's awesome countdown timer. And oop, it's already started without us. So everybody, let's get ready to sprint. Stretch your little fingers and let's get rolling. We're going to start in 3, 2, 1, sprint. All right, everybody, that is time. Okay, how did everybody do? Robert, how'd you make out on this one?
I don't know word-wise, but I read over a few pages and I started doing some editing on what I wrote last time. So I think it's moving in a okay direction.
I feel like we should just have like I made progress.
Yeah.
I think maybe like I'm still here. I made it. I know. I feel the same way. I was posting telling people, no, we're not streaming at 11 p.m. I'm a dork.
Okay,
So,
I was
Doll, how'd
adding
you do?
a special thing to the recording because there's like a scene where someone is sending a text message. And I don't speak Icelandic, so I'm like, okay, Google Translate, you're gonna read this for me, and I'm gonna record it. so it's a robotic voice because it's a text message anyway, so it applies. So I recorded that, but then I also had to like Google Translate reads it very slowly like this. It's very annoying. So blind people read their phones a lot faster than that. So I was doing some pitch and stretch corrections, like time, like tempo corrections, and so now it sounds really fast, and it's like what was that? So, it's the purpose of that sound effect is not for people to understand it necessarily, but like to reflect what the character is doing. And I also had to equalize it so it sounds like it's coming from a phone's, it's coming from an earphone. So
Right.
it has that equalization that sounds like, oh, that's like a message or something, and the character is listening to that, but we as the audience, it's just a sound effect. I just wanted it to be authentic, so I was doing that.
Nice.
And then I am also looking for free sound effects of police car sirens. So yeah. Final touches.
That's great. Well, YouTube has a really good collection of free sound effects. Absolutely. So you guys in the chat, everybody let us know how, or not, let us know how you're doing, how you did, whatever you want to talk about. Bonnie had a follow-up question. We were talking before the break about, before the before the sprint, we were talking about author liaisons and what they do. And I was like, after we started sprinting, I was thinking about a person whose name I think is Barbara, but I cannot remember. It's been a while since I've seen her. And she is like sort of the author liaison in Tampa. And she's a person who is a CRM at Barnes and Noble, but she has this like side gig where publishers will will hire her when they have kind of a bigger author in town. She'll pick them up from the airport. She drives them around to all the bookstores. She drives them around to all the local media that they're going to be doing that day, and then to any events, and make sure they have water and someplace to go to lunch and things, and snacks. Author liaisons always have snacks, I'll tell you that. Giant bag, a library bag full of snacks. So that's important. All right. So Bonnie asked, is it normal for them to seek you out for companies? So this is another kind of author liaison, right? So this is maybe a person who is trying to, seek you out for some sort of like affiliate program. Sometimes they call themselves liaisons, even though they wouldn't necessarily be. So maybe it's normal. Can you give us a little bit more details so that we can help you with this one? Maybe it's normal. Could be normal, could be sketchy. Let's see. All right. So CO Savvy says, I guess I'm clueless too. Didn't know that either. I think we're still talking about books on Tuesday. Savvy says, love you all so much. Ditto. We love you too. Tina's here. Tina's here. Hello, Tina. We're so glad you're here today. We have lots of highs back and forth. Chasing Epiphany's here. Good job.
Good to see you, bro.
We're so glad you made it today. All right, Barbara says people are knee-deep in new work on Wednesdays. Thursdays, no one is picking up anything new to do. Friday, pre-weekend brain. So Barbara's like, yes on Tuesdays. If you're going to call on Tuesdays. I have to agree that Tuesday is probably the best day to get me because I start to kind of wear out. You know, I'm still good by Wednesday maybe, but Thursday I'm thinking like, ooh, tomorrow's Friday. And Friday I'm just toast. And the thing is, I've had like for the last 15 years, I've had this Friday schedule where I would go do the daytime show. So I, get all dolled up in the morning, go do my segment, and then I would like go to lunch with my friend Abby, who is another author. We would like have these like 2.5-hour lunches every Friday where we just talk about everything under the sun. And then she moved a couple of years ago to Connecticut, and now the Horror Geek and I will go like have lunch at our favorite place. And then after that, you don't want to do anything. So I've been like a slacker on Fridays for like a decade and a half, and I'm having a hard time doing anything else, even though I don't go out of my house much anymore. Although we did make it. Yeah.
All of this talk about like Tuesdays being like apparently the only efficient day to do things, apparently, it makes me question like why wouldn't we have like a day yes, day no kind of work system?
I don't know. I think it's just like approaching people who are in that corporate sort of 9 to 5. Well, not everybody knows it's not that 7 to 7 workplace where, like what's the best day to approach a journalist or an editor or somebody that you want to get something done with. Dawdling Writers here. Hello.
Hi, Jules.
We're so glad to see you. Hey, Joanne Ninja Hen, we're so glad to see you. Laura says, I guess we're at the regular time after all. We are. So for those of you who came in later, because YouTube says that the stream was going to be at 11 p.m., that would be my fault. I just cannot get it together. I'm so sorry. I'm having like the craziest, worst week. But we hear that Mercury is in retrograde, so technically it's not my fault, right? The universe is conspiring against me this week. Does anyone?
Definitely conspiring against me. But you know what I'm thinking, and listening to this conversation, and the very fact that Barbara's book came out and we're just hearing about it today.
Right.
You think about these book tours, and we see people. They might appear on a friend stream, but if we're not on or we're not watching that, we don't necessarily hear about it.
Right.
We emulate as indies what the book tour does. When our book comes out, we need to kind of book ahead guest spots on everybody because we all have different audiences and try to emulate what business does. Because if you're not, you're really limiting yourself to just your friends. And we need to branch out beyond AuthorTube and hook up with some other people. If our book does well and the Amazon ratings say, hey, just reach out to people on their streams or their vlogs or blogs and say, hey, I've got a book that's doing well on Amazon. I've been on this channel, this channel, this channel. Would you like to schedule a spot?
Yeah.
Reach out.
Exactly. And this is what your point about what big publishers do is they start working on media 5 or 6 and partnerships and events 5 or 6 months prior to the launch date. And so at the minimum, right? I mean, with the trades, you're maybe even sending out like 7 or 8 months ahead. 6 is fine, but a lot of times they're sending that out early. So, and the goal is you start that really far in advance, but your goal is to get everything to hit in the couple of weeks right around your launch date so that it just feels everywhere. And we talked before, I think Carol brought it up. One of my favorite statistics is basically people have to see you 7 times to remember you. And so if you have to see someone's book 7 times before you take action, then we need to make sure when we have a book come out that we're as many places as we can possibly be at the same time. And it does feel like, oh my gosh, I've got my book coming out. I don't have time to do all this other stuff. But if you're scheduling that way in advance, and a lot of times you can do guest posts on blogs where you write it ahead of time and they just post it on the day or the week of your launch. That pre-planning really, really helps a lot. And I know all of our indie authors are like, dude, I have 3 months between books. How in the world am I going to do 5 months? So yeah, if you're
when they send you on tour, nothing gets done for like a month.
No,
the tours are like grueling, right? So how many shops are you doing within like 2 or 3 weeks? 21 or something like that?
Yeah. So my biggest tour I ever did was 28 cities over 2 months. And it was about 1 month of traveling, but I have little kids. And so so I was gone 2 weeks at a time. And then I'd come back for a week, gone 2 weeks, gone for a week. So it was a month of, like if I had done it straight through, 28 days of traveling. God, is that right? Holy crap. It literally took me a year to recover from that tour. And I had another book due right before I was supposed to leave for the tour, like the day before I was supposed to leave. And that was the only time I'd have 2 traditionally published books coming out 1 year. They were 9 months apart. And I would never do that again. Wow. At least not with a big tour, because it was so, like, just the preparation to leave your house for 2 weeks. You're kind of crazy and busy, and your brain's all excited about the new release, but then you got to finish this other book. And so I was able to finish my book. I was a week late on the deadline. I was able to finish that was the first time I was ever late on a deadline. It was like 5 days. So I finished this book in a hotel room in Chicago. And the only reason that I had time to finish it was because the television show I was booked on got canceled that week. And so it just looked like we didn't know it. They didn't have enough time to book me on anything else. Like, we literally didn't find out until like the week, 2 days before. And so I had time and I was able to finish the book and turn it in. But yeah, it was crazy because so Partita sponsor that tour. That's a tequila company. And so every night they would have, not every, but I'd say 22 out of the 28 cities would have a party somewhere at some bar where they promoted it. And like, because they did this 15 minutes of shame margarita. So I would I'd get to my place that I was going. I would go to some early morning crack of dawn radio show at like 6 or 7 in the morning or 5. And then I'd go sign some stock somewhere. And then I'd usually do some noon television show or sometimes a morning show. And then I'd go sign more stock. And then I'd do a book event that night. And maybe radio during an afternoon show, or maybe not, or maybe a phoner. And then I would go to this tequila party, have a drink.
Holy crap.
And then I would get on a plane and go to the next place and start it all over again. And I was barely in any city. Like, I had to carry 2 weeks of clothing around with me because I was barely anywhere long enough to get like dry cleaning done. And it was insane.
Just hearing all this makes me like, I don't want to do this.
Well, here's the thing.
Imagine that, because I've only been on like one mini tour and it was just a weekend, but we were picked up by like shop owners in their cars. We all met at this one destination, and then we were hopping on trains and buses and getting picked up at one shop and going to another. And just by the end of the weekend, we were so tired, we felt like we were drunk and just babbling at the mouth with people.
Yeah. Well, at the end of that tour, I was in a book shop in Chattanooga or Nashville, some city in Tennessee, and I had done this afternoon show that was like just basically like these 3 moms on the local NBC station, and they had a bigger audience than Oprah in that market. It was a really popular show, but it was went to a Barnes & Noble. They always do like a giant printout of your book and your face, like a big like beauty shot, like on this big poster. And so there's my big poster. I'm sitting there. I'm like 28 cities in. I'm like looking like a drowned rat, because it's raining, and I just can't wait to go home. And this like homeless guy comes in from the rain, and he looks at my picture, and he looks at me, and he looks at the picture, and he's like, "You look a lot better, or you don't look as good in the picture. You look a lot worse." That's like the meanest thing you could say. And I was just like, I know. I was like Stephen King in a dress by that point. Like, it was bad. It was bad. So yeah. Here's the thing though. So then the next book came out, the 9 months book. I did 5 cities on that book, and because I was like, I'm not doing another tour like that again. But I did so much more of it online, and now I don't think you have to go to. First of all, the publisher they don't want to pay for a massive tour like that anymore. But the other thing is, I don't think you have to do that. I would do a couple cities that you have, like now, I would maybe do Los Angeles and New York because you have a lot of media there. I would do Sarasota, because I have a massive home base there. And, maybe like, some other city, like where I have family or something, and then everything else online, because there's no reason at all to do that many cities anymore. And also it took me a year to recover. I would never. It seems fun and glamorous, but by the 3rd city, it's this like, you're exhausted, you look like crap, you're eating terrible food out of a library bag everywhere you go.
Yeah. That doesn't sound pretty. Like, while you were describing it, it didn't sound pretty. But now, musicians have the same thing. Like when a musician is famous enough, big enough, famous enough, and they have like tours and interviews and things, it's the same thing. You go to the radio show at the crack of dawn, because that's how it goes. It's like morning radio shows, and then it's like they have some meeting, then they have like album signings, then they go to the party, then they go to the gig, then they have a small gig somewhere else, and they go to this cocktail party, whatever. Same thing. Same, like, when I'm talking about big enough musicians, I'm not talking like new or small or like indie. And even indie musicians have a big one, the tour from now and then, so it sounds fantastic until you do it. It's not.
So I will say some parts of it were fantastic. Like when I went to New York, I love New York. Okay. And that was that was my first stop, right? I stayed at the Waldorf Astoria, which is my favorite hotel in New York. And there's a scene from that there's a scene that takes place in the Waldorf Astoria. I did a bunch of media. I wasn't tired yet. All my clothes were clean and pressed. I was like, it was great. But then by the time you move on, and the terrible thing on that tour is that the last stop was Los Angeles, which is another big media market. So I was wiped by the time I got there. Like, I was not the same person for the LA stop that I was for New York. And some parts of it are fun. The best part is that you're in a bookstore and people show up because they want to talk to you. Like, that's the best part. And
that's the best part.
Yeah. And there are authors who have really built their audience by touring. And the one that I'm thinking of in particular is J.A. Conrath, who wrote, he actually has a really popular blog. He was a traditionally published author who was kind of a mid-lister, and his publisher would not buy like the 5th or 6th book in his series. And so he was one of the earliest traditionally published authors to go ahead and produce, to publish on Amazon. And it was like shocking at the time. And he blogged about it, and he shared his numbers, and he got other authors on board, and they shared their numbers. And he ended up doing really, really well. But he is one of those guys that is like incredibly hardworking. And I met him on several tour stops because he was on tour at the same time I was, and we kept running into each other at different conferences. So anyway, there we go. All right. I have rambled on about that long enough. Oh my gosh. St. Louis, just cause Eva is here. Hello, Eva. We're ouch, Lisa. Yeah, exactly. It's not going to go. All right. Actors too. Yes. Heather says, and actors too. I know it seems right. it seems like it would be this big, exciting, glamorous thing. And some of it is, right? It's nice when people are excited to see you. When you go to a Barnes & Noble and you're doing an event, the store manager will offer you a sandwich and a treat from the cafe. So that's
nice.
there's that.
Those are nice. Those are nice. The thing with me is that I wanted to become a writer precisely because I don't want to be in the spotlight. I want my books and stories to be in the spotlight more than me. That's why you're seeing the avatar that I have now. It's not even me. That's a character.
Right. Well, but the thing is that most readers never go to a book signing. They maybe never see some author that they like on television, or maybe they hear them on the radio, maybe they hear them on a podcast. But a lot of times we hear about our favorite books from, a book club, or from a friend, or they get recommended to us in some group that we're in. So I just don't the longer I've done this, the more I don't think it's necessary to do those kinds of events. I will always probably do media just because I have a background in that. And if you can get on television or podcast or radio to promote your books, you should, right? I mean, if you're comfortable with that.
Definitely.
Yeah. And some people are, some people aren't. But yeah, I would not do that kind of tour again.
As an indie, though, we have that choice. We could do everything from the comfort of our home, and we can just book these things online. It's just a matter of attempting to emulate those things digitally and getting ourselves out there so that more people will kind of tune into us and buy our book.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Well, and I think it's really interesting that a lot of the big publishers are now emulating the indies more. Like indie publishers started, using BookBub as a strategy, as a series building strategy, as a strategy for hitting the bestseller list. And now you have major publishers doing those same things that they definitely copied right from, how successful indie authors were doing it. So, yeah. All right, you guys, let's do another writing sprint. I feel like we should.
Yes.
All right. This time I'm going to share audio because, as you guys may recall, DAL taught me how last time. All right. So we're going to use Joanne Ninja Hen's awesome typewriter timer. DAL, would you like to count us down?
Okay.
All right. Here we go. 3,
2, 1, sprint.
I can't, really. #dork. Sorry. That was me. Okay. There we go. All right. I just answered emails. I can't. I'm like, so I think, well, I can focus for like a paragraph at a time. So there we go. Good. How'd you do, Robert?
I edited a bit more and I got up to the point where my story is reaching its conclusion. And I made some notes that I had to refer back to on that. And it's still a little unclear how it's all going to play out. Some things I have to go back and plant in the re-edits. So I'm wondering if I can put a placeholder here and just move on, conclude it, and then go back and start the edits.
That's
that
what
might
I
be
would.
the best way to handle that.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is if you're not quite sure now, when you start reading it from the beginning and you're thinking about the story as a whole, it probably will just bubble up and go, oh, I should put it right. It'll just come to you where it belongs. Hopefully that's how it works.
My note reasoning, which is good. I think I have the conclusion. It's just that without planting some stuff before, it's going to be just blather at the end. So I think the placeholder is.
Well, we can't have blather at the end. That's not good at all. DAL CECIL RUNO, how are you? I'm not even asking how did you do. I'm just asking how are you? How
I was
are you?
doing some
what
more
happened?
editing in the audio file. I did some sire. I found the sound effect that I wanted, and also there's like another background character, and my voice was not that distinguishable between the main narrator and that character. I mean, it was, but I wasn't satisfied, so I did some pitch corrections there too. Guys, if you really want like sound editing, call me. I can do this.
I like all the thought.
Well,
I know you put a lot of thought into your story and characters, but I like the logic by which you're proceeding and learning all these things. So that's, I think,
it's I used to be a musician, so I guess that's where I put the things into practice. Like, Lisa, you heard my main narrator yesterday, one of the two, and she sounds like this, you know, very fairy, airy, fairy kind of, but with a dark undertone. And then there's the friend who speaks more confident, more like, let's do this kind of thing, but I didn't do the voice change precisely, so I was like, pitch correction it is.
Well, and DAL was telling me yesterday that that she's going to put the audiobook version up, and I know your patrons get a sneak peek. Do you want to tell about that?
Yeah, they already have the teaser, like the very beginning of the story, the opener. I might drop another teaser today if you want.
Woo.
But then the final version is going to come to my YouTube channel on the weekend, like Saturday, somewhere around Saturday. I don't have like a specified release. It will depend on my laptop and like, you know, how fast it uploads and whatever.
We know that. All right, I'm excited about that. So I'm really excited. So let's say hi to the chat. How did you all do? How are you doing? Okay, so Jeannie, I'm like way behind on comments as always. Jeannie says, just woke up, still trying to fumble for coffee. We're glad you're here, honey. All right, Stacy's here. Hello, Stacy. Debbie's here. She just finished penciling a page during the last sprint. So how are you doing now? What did you guys do during our most recent sprint? Okay. Heather says, looks like I started working on my blog post around the time you went live. So I got in 159 words. Yes. All right, good. Very nice. Sarah is setting up some planner stuff for next month and trying to decide which Instagram challenge I want to do. There's a lot to choose from in November. I never find out about Instagram challenges until after they're over. I'm like the last person to do an
Carrow posted an Instagram challenge yesterday, and she tagged a couple of people. But like, in case you didn't see that, you go check Carrow.
Well, usually I do check Carol, although I will say I have not been on any social media for pretty much the week. Like usually, oftentimes Robert and I chatting back and forth on Facebook, and like we've had this conversation that's been like over 4 days where he says something and wanders off, and then I say something and wander off, and then he says something. So yeah. It's just right. It's good. It's good. You've been like my only human contact except the people that I live with. So thank you for that. All right. Barbara worked on newsletter emails. I feel so proud every time you guys say that. Woohoo. Laurel successfully finished eating a delicious burrito. That sounds so good. I could totally go for a burrito. Yes, burrito wins. Definitely worth it. The gas from the beets, not so much. See how savvy. You're on a roll today. Oh, everybody's laughing at that. Eva, we already know Eva's here. I skipped forward. She already knew that Barbara's book just came out. That is so exciting. Okay, so it just came out on Sunday. Barbara Howard's book called Charlotte's Revenge, right? Right? All
Yes.
Okay, good. All right.
My microphone was muted. Sorry. Yes.
Theo stat. Well, you're just like, you have to be my Caro who like fact checks me all the time.
I'll be your backup.
When Caro's not here, you're back. You're my backup.
I'm backing up Caro.
That's right. Theo Savvy says the day everything goes well on Lisa's stream, I'm out because she's been cloned. Yep. All right. Yes. Robert, Jeannie said you made a good point, but what point do you make that isn't good, right? I mean, that was an awkward way to say that. I don't remember what it was, but I'm sure it was awesome.
It was about when we were talking about the book tours, and
yes.
Yeah, we definitely need to put the work in and block that time. And remember what a teacher of mine once said: when you start doing this, any kind of work that you're doing on your own, especially for the creative arts in any form, it's going to be whatever you think you worked hard at in the past, this is going to be harder. If it's not, that's why you have to love it, because if you don't love it, the work is going to take over and you're going to be like, wow, this isn't what I expected. Work.
Yeah. Well, that's it. If you don't love it, it's not worth it. There's so much more that has to go into this. And it is true. Like, I will say one of the things I admire so much about everybody in the authortube community is that people like really naturally ebb and flow. Some people like, they just go, okay, I'm out for November or I'm out for October. Like, they're good at respecting the fact that like when they start to burn out, they need to step back a little bit. And I think that's part of, being successful long-term is kind of taking those breaks when you need them, because if you don't, you definitely will burn out.
I went for times without taking a vacation when deadlines piled up, and I was the guy that was like, I'm going to be there. I'll take care of it.
Right.
Really do burn out. Make sure you plan little breaks and vacations, because when you start doing it and those deadlines become real, there's times when it's absolutely the best feeling on the planet. And then there's other times where it's just your job. And you have to be prepared to do your job, whether or not.
Yeah. It's hard too, especially if you go, I went through like 7 books before I ever had to write a book where I felt like it was my job. Like, it was that other stuff was going on. If I didn't have that deadline, I would have just quit. Like, I just would not have gone through and done it. Now, I ended up loving that book, but it took me, was like, you just got to power through and make it happen. Okay. So Eva says, when I think about trying to sell a book, I get so excited and overwhelmed. Good thing I don't have one to sell yet. Well, you will, right? You're going to keep writing, and then you're going to have a book to sell. And it is exciting and it is overwhelming, but you can handle it. That's it. You can handle it. You can do this. And you have lots of friends who care about you and believe in your work and support you.
That's what I was going to say. Like, the parts that you don't know very well yet and you want to know, you can ask around. There will be someone who knows.
That's true. That is absolutely the truth. There are always people. I always find this to be true, and I believe it to be true, and I think that's why it always works out for me. I think whenever you need information, a teacher will always show up for you. Someone will magically appear who has the answer that you need.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to go look for them a little bit. But anytime I've really been stuck, like, I don't know what to do next, I will run into somebody at a coffee shop or something, or just like, oh, what about so-and-so? So, all right, Joanne, Ninja Head, thank you. We miss you too. All right, you are so welcome. Yay, we're glad to see you again. I'm so glad to see you guys. I just feel like I feel so isolated. If I don't stream, I feel like I really, really miss you guys.
Mhm.
Okay, I know there aren't a lot of steamy romancers here, but one thing I love are the reels on Instagram that Kennedy Fox does. What? I'm a steamy romancer. I'm not
Yeah.
super.
Lisa is. She maybe she threw that shade at me because of my recent Eva, I have nothing against. Okay, let me clarify that thing, because some people saw what I posted and that wasn't pretty. No, I have nothing against steamy romance, like the genre of romance. No, nothing against them. They are fine. What I am tired of are the books that are like, this is an adventure, fantasy, sci-fi, space opera, whatever, and then you read the book, it's like cyborgs getting laid. honey, don't lie to me. No.
Oh, doll, you have me so close to a snort laugh there. Yes.
I'm aiming for the snort laugh. Okay, so that's what I was meaning. I have nothing against people who write. I mean, there's a purpose for every genre. There's a niche for every genre. I am just not a fan, or I need to be in the mood to, okay, I will venture into this romantic story that I know what I'm getting into. I have to be like in the mind space for that. But when I pick up a sci-fi or like a fantasy or whatever, I want to see something innovative.
Right.
And if I see romance all the time into my sci-fi, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, right. If it's a sci-fi, then there should be sci-fi. If it's a sci-fi romance or a steamy cyborg sci-fi romance. Wait, what if Roboerotica? If it's Roboerotica.
Roboerotica. Yeah, that's another one.
Our favorite subgenre here on the Lisa Daily, Robert Jones. DAL and Carrow podcast thing we got going here. I guess. Anyway, yes. Okay, I'm going to check that out because I have not seen those, but I'm super excited. That sounds like just my thing. All right, Barbara says she's working on blog and podcast now, trying to finish book 3 in November, and Nano 2. Honey, you are my new superhero. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, Eva says, hey, Barbara Howard, my mister is reading your book now. Ooh, that's awesome. She says they're doing a 2-human book club. That is fantastic. All right. I don't know what this was. Arch? I don't know. Me. Yeah, it was something from before. All right, I'm gonna have to come back down to the chat. Actually, it's 12:40. If we're gonna get in one last sprint. I know we should do that. All right, hold on.
Sage is here. Hi, Sage.
Hi, Sage. All right, hold on. Let me get back and put the pause on. Wait. Ooh. All right, I got it. I'm working on it. Okay. I think we all know I can only do one thing at a time.
That's me, don't worry.
Stacy's here. I saw Sage is here now. StreamYard job. Okay, Word is here. Karen's here. Steven says basically burned out early in the year, which is why I essentially disappeared for 2 months.
Yeah.
Where are you, Devin?
Yeah, I know, right? I got it. Hello, my darlings. Aw, thank you. So sweet. Thank you, Moon Buddy Creative. Awesome. All right. Oh, Joanne Ninja Hand loves Roboerotica. Yeah, right? Constant theme here. We are all about the Roboerotica. All right. Oh, I did the thing again. I'm not sure if we're going to share the sound or not. We'll check it out. It's going to be a magical surprise for all of us. All right, doll, you get the honors. We're going to
All right.
Ready? We're going to do the countdown. Go ahead. Here we go.
And 3, 2, 1. Spring! We're back.
Ta-da. Yay! Ta-da! All right. I missed some comments earlier, and I wanted to get them because we had a couple of new people. And also, Heather had some awesome news. She said she made her first attempt. Stand tall, Robert. She made her first attempt at recording a podcast using my blog post. I don't hate it, I guess, but it could definitely be bigger. And I forgot to mention something. So I really might re-record it. So, A, congratulations. That's totally awesome. And B, I'm curious as to why you would record unless you don't like the whole thing. But I'm sort of curious as to why you would record the whole thing instead of just doing like a pickup for the part
I have advice on this.
The part that
if there's like a small section that you can like where the part that you forgot about that you can like cut and paste. It depends on what kind of software Heather is using to record. You can split the main clip where you had your recording, and you can split it so you can move the clips to give like a space, and then you can record the extra part in the middle, in the section that you separated for like that empty space, so you can add and then move the clips around so it seems like it was there all along.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I go, okay, what about that? What story detective? You look like you're about to say something. Always.
No, I just do the same thing when I'm doing voiceovers for videos. Just like Dal said, you kind of have to move things around and shorten breaks or pauses, and then fill things in that you forgot.
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I know. I have to cut whenever I do my videos. I always have to cut out a bunch of this, like, because I make so many goofy faces. Like, there's still a lot in there, but I have to cut a lot out. You should know there are more that are in the trash bucket. All right, here we go. I don't think we said, so Debbie said finished inking a panel. Yay. I feel like we did get that one, but I'm not sure. Okay, Word. Hi, we're so glad you're here.
Hi. Good to see you.
Best-selling author in the making. Love that. Love that. Love the confidence. Welcome. I think that you are maybe here with us for the first time, or at least the first time I'm seeing you. But, oh my gosh, best-selling author in the making. Writing coach, like a match made in heaven, right?
Yeah.
I'm so glad you made it today. Yeah, right? And Karen is here. Wattpad, my wish upon a star. I don't know what that means. I bet it was really hilarious and related to something that we talked about like 35 minutes ago. I'm sorry. I'm super, super far behind. Always in the comments. All right. I'm going to just say bye to everybody really quick. Barbara's got to hop off. She has 2 webinars to attend today. Why are they always on Wednesday? I don't know. All right. And Heather says she was doing her podcast just straight into Anchor, no software involved. She says, I edit so much out of my videos. We really have to.
I don't know how to do the Anchor thing, so there I cannot really help you, unfortunately.
Well, you guys, I am so glad that we got to all hang out together today. I want to wrap up just because it's 1:05, and I don't want to keep everybody longer than they have planned, because Wednesday is a crazy day for a lot of people. But you guys are awesome. I'm so glad that you all made it today. And let's do our little outros before we go. Story Detective, tell us all about you.
My channel is The Story Detective, where we analyze all things story-oriented under the Sherlockian microscope and separate the facts from the BS and give it to you straight, just the facts.
Yes, I love that. I totally
missing your videos, by the way.
I know. You'll be back soon, right?
You'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Got some that I'm scripting, so by the time I get everything else finished, hopefully I'll be ahead enough. And then I'm going to go back to doing like 1 per week. The 2 per week was just becoming brutal and taking over my...
It's a kill. It's a kill. I'm like on this thing where I'm doing okay, and then
no.
And then no, exactly. All right. GD says, thanks so much for streaming. Heather says, I was just playing. Laurel says, thanks for being here, everyone. You guys are awesome. Thanks so much for the stream. Dal, tell us about you really fast before we go.
Hi, I am DAL CECIL RUNO, the partially blind alien who is a known voices author, aka the Ace from Space. Primarily, I write sci-fi, but I like to explore other genres with my short stories. I have a thriller, crime, noir, Icelandic thing coming out this Halloween. And I also write some poetry. Usually, I stream every Wednesday at 2 p.m., but not today because I'm busy.
I can't believe, oh my gosh, I can't believe we could have left without talking about your book. Doll's new book, new short story, twisty, turny thriller, noir thriller, is coming out
Saturday.
This Saturday, October 31st. It's available for pre-order. It's called Danger, small D, capital everything else, by DAL CECIL RUNO. It's only 99 cents, and you should snag it up right now and do that pre-order. I'm Lisa Daly. Thank you so much for being here. You guys are awesome. I'm so happy to hang out with you today, and we will see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.